Welcome back to the show. This is KDS Reviews. You ever been to the movie and saw this movie that ended perfectly for you? They captured the bad guy, the monster got killed, the murder was solved, and it just ended perfectly. There was no more in this movie that needed to be squeezed out. There's no more stories that need to be squeezed out. And then Hollywood gets greedy and give these movies an unnecessary sequel. Let's talk about some movies that didn't need a sequel but got some. Let's start off with Jaws. Now, Jaws was this shark attack movie, as you all know. Now, this movie did not need a sequel at all. The shark ate Robert Shaw, Richard Dreyfuss, Roy Scheider hunted him down. Roy Scheider ended up shooting and blowing him up. Now, that's the end of the story. There's nothing else here that needs to go on. What, we're going to get another shark attack? That needed to have stopped. That was a one story, one movie thing. But Hollywood, of course, wanted to print some more money, and they kept on going until they ended up with an unnecessary sequel that was in 3D. That's Jaws. Up next, Superman, the Christopher Reeve version of Superman. Now, this is a really good story. Even if you don't like comic book movies, this is a really good story by itself. He starts off as a baby sent from Krypton to Earth, and he shows him being Superboy. He grows up, and he goes on. He deals with Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor sends a bomb, blows up part of California, and Lois dies. And I remember the scene of him picking up Lois out of the car. It was a really touching and emotional scene. And then he flies off and rotates the Earth, rotates it backwards, and go back in time and prevent the bomb from happening and killing Lois. Now, that was the end of that. There's no going on to the Justice League here. That was the end of that story. They wrapped that up beautifully, and the impact of the ending had really had an emotional punch. That movie did not need a sequel. But, of course, they wanted to get some more money out of it, so they continued to make more Superman movies, and they just got worse as they went on. You even had one here with Richard Pryor in it. Who came up with that idea? That was Superman. Up next, Toy Story. And we talked about this before. Toy Story started off the first movie. It was just a bunch of toys. They didn't want to get left behind when Andy was moving. Had all these adventures here with Buzz and Woody. It was a good little story. Even for adults, it's really more of an adult movie than it is a kid movie. And, of course, they got reunited with Andy, and they moved on. And that was the end of it. That should have been the end of it. But it made a lot of money. So, of course, they're going to keep making sequels. And they've never really been as good as the first one. They really haven't, not one of them. And they keep aging Andy. That's the part I don't get. Why are you aging him? It's a kid cartoon. He doesn't have to age any different. He can stay like Charlie Brown. He's the same age that he's been since the 60s. That's Toy Story. Here's another one, The Matrix. Now, The Matrix is a really convoluted story that you almost have to watch the movie twice to even figure out. It's basically a story of the humans being batteries, for this machine, But it didn't really, this is one movie right here to me, I didn't mind it having just a open-ended ending to it. It never really answered all the questions that you wanted to answer. It never really explained a lot of things. And you know what? That kind of what made it even better, because they didn't explain everything in the movie. It just went off, and Neo was dead. But there's another one, like I said. They just kept on going with The Matrix, and they never explained the story at all, which made it even worse to me. And the last Matrix movie was absolute garbage. You should have just stopped with The Matrix and let that hang just like it was. And you come up with your own idea about it. And then, of course, there's Ghostbusters. This is an absolute classic. It should have never been touched anymore. You got the Ghostbuster team chasing Slimer, getting rid of all of these ghosts and demons in the city of New York. It was a one-shot deal to me. I don't know why they even made it anymore. Now, even Ghostbusters 2 is okay, but it's not that good. And those unnecessary sequels, the all-female cast, and Ghostbusters Afterlife, those are completely unnecessary to this story. To me, this is a one-story, one-shot idea of a film. That's Ghostbusters. This is KDS Reviews. Remember, KDS Reviews is seen every Wednesday and every Sunday. And throughout the week, we talk about the state of Hollywood as far as movie making is. If you like this type of content, then like, subscribe, and share. Maybe there's some movies that you feel like did not need a sequel. Won't you mention them down in the comment section below? And if you want to see another video of me talking about sequels and prequels, and do we absolutely need them, then watch this video right here. This is KDS Reviews, and I'll see you in the next video.